A woman goes camping with her family and the family of her male high school classmate. Late at night, she wakes up and discovers something shocking. Her husband is secretly having an affair with the classmate's wife, passionately entangled in a hidden space. Yuri accidentally witnesses Eun-kyung's husband cheating with another woman. At that moment, Eun-kyung suddenly appears behind her. In a panic, Yuri loudly calls out Eun-kyung's name. The shout startled the couple who were in the middle of their affair. Yuri quickly steps forward, makes up an excuse, and pulls Eun-kyung away. Even after parting ways with Eun-kyung, Yuri cannot bring herself to tell her what she just saw. It turns out Yuri's father also cheated on her mother years ago and betrayed the family. At her father's funeral, Yuri's mother got into a fierce argument with the mistress. Both women cried hysterically. That experience deeply affected Yuri. Subconsciously, she avoids scenes where the legal wife and the mistress confront each other directly. Yuri is troubled not only because of what she witnessed, but also because she is hesitating over whether to resign from her job. Lawyer Kwon advises her to hold on a little longer, saying that after 1 month she will definitely change her mind. After all, Kwon herself joined the firm only 3 months earlier and is already thriving. Meanwhile, Eun-kyung is also worried. The previous night, she returned to the office and saw that Yuri had written half of a resignation letter. She fears that Yuri might quit at any moment. Lawyer Jang suggests a plan. Why not take the initiative and give Yuri a raise? Eun-kyung feels that won't really solve the problem and decides to wait and see. At this moment, a pair of clients arrive for consultation. Eun-kyung brings Yuri along to receive them. The couple seeking a divorce are a man and a woman who were high school classmates. After getting married and having children, the two families often went out together. The female classmate thanks her husband for being understanding. Most husbands wouldn't allow their wives to stay in touch with male classmates. The husband, in turn, thanks his wife for introducing him to such a wonderful family. One weekend, the two families go camping together. The male classmate's camper van breaks down. The woman's husband generously agrees that everyone can sleep in his camper van instead. But that night, when the woman gets up to drink water, she realizes her husband is not inside. When she steps outside, she is horrified to see her husband having an affair with the male classmate's wife in another camper. The betrayal devastates her. After repeated inner struggle, she tells the male classmate the truth about the affair. The male classmate gathers evidence of the cheating, and his wife admits to having an affair. Eun-kyung believes that under these circumstances, it would not be difficult to obtain a divorce and claim emotional damages. On the day of the trial, Eun-kyung presents the evidence of infidelity to the judge. The cheating husband's lawyer attempts to defend him, but the husband stands up and openly admits that he did cheat with another man's wife, yet insists that it was not an affair but true love. Eun-kyung is surprised at how smoothly the case proceeds. Unexpectedly, the husband then declares that he wants to fight for custody. However, the child he wants custody of is not his own. It is the child of the male classmate's wife. The judge believes there is still room for settlement and asks Eun-kyung to consult her clients. Mediation is scheduled for the next session. After returning, Yuri struggles once again over whether she should tell Eun-kyung about her husband's affair. She urgently needs someone else's opinion. So she invites Lawyer Kwon out and begins with, "I have a friend." She describes what she witnessed and asks whether she should tell this friend the truth. Lawyer Kwon says that if it were her, she would tell immediately. So the friend can recognize her husband's true nature sooner and escape the situation as early as possible. Yuri finally has her answer. While waiting for mediation, she carefully prepares her words, ready to speak. But when Eun-kyung notices her hesitation, she mistakenly thinks Yuri wants to resign. She tells her to wait until after the mediation to say anything. Yuri has no choice but to swallow her words. The mediation begins. The husband, relying on the fact that he is the son of a National Assembly member, claims he has both money and influence. He demands custody of all 3 children from both families. As compensation, he offers 2 billion won and insists that the male classmate does not need to divide any marital property with his wife. The male classmate explodes in anger, accusing him of trying to buy children with money. Yuri is also outraged, stating that letting children live with an adulterous couple would be psychological torture. Eun-kyung intervenes in time, stating that they need to discuss the matter and will respond at the next mediation. Yuri criticizes Eun-kyung's handling of the situation, saying that she should have rejected the request on the spot. Eun-kyung reminds her that they are lawyers and must respect their client's wishes. At that moment, the female classmate had not expressed any opinion at all. Yuri believes the male classmate would never sell his children for money. Eun-kyung laughs and says she is too naive. Giving up custody does not mean abandoning one's children. After returning to the office, Yuri complains to lawyer Kwon that Eun-kyung is too cold-blooded. Instead of agreeing, lawyer Kwon drags her to see lawyer Zhang and asks whether one should tell a friend about her husband's affair. Lawyer Zhang replies that she would pretend not to know. There's no need to interfere in others' affairs. Before the parties take action themselves, one should observe quietly. Yuri becomes conflicted again, unsure whether to tell Eun-kyung. Eun-kyung directly asks the male and female classmates whether they intend to fight for custody. The male classmate insists on fighting to the end. Yuri supports him, determined to leave an indelible stain of infidelity on the adulterous couple's record. Eun-kyung reminds the male classmate that emotional damages amount to only 20 million won. But if he accepts a settlement, he can receive 100 million won, and custody is highly likely to go to the mother anyway. She advises him to face reality. The male classmate refuses to compromise, until the previously silent female classmate finally speaks. She says she is willing to accept the 2 billion won. Her 2 children have worn luxury brands and attended international schools since childhood. If they stay with her, she cannot afford that lifestyle. Moreover, her parents run a small restaurant. There would be no one to help care for the children, and she wouldn't even be able to keep her job. Yuri cannot accept this decision. She blurts out that, in the future, the children might believe their father is the responsible one, while their mother is the one who abandoned them. Eun-kyung reprimands Yuri for accusing the client and demands that she apologize immediately. Yuri reluctantly apologizes, but the female classmate's eyes are already filled with tears. Eun-kyung comforts the couple, telling them not to feel guilty. They are simply making the best decision they can at this moment. She promises to argue the case in the direction they want. At the final mediation, both the male and female classmates sign the settlement agreement. They agree to give up custody and accept compensation. Yuri wonders why the male classmate changed his stance. Eun-kyung explains that the investigator asked the children for their opinion, and the children clearly stated that they wanted to live with their mother. Even so, Yuri still holds on to her own beliefs. Based on experience, Eun-kyung tells her that the husband's insistence on custody was merely an attempt to justify his infidelity. Once that moment of passion fades, and with his busy career leaving him no time to care for children, he would eventually prefer the children to live with their mother. In the end, the female classmate gains financial security and still gets to see her children often, a complete legal victory. After explaining everything, Eun-kyung takes the lawsuit fees and brings Yuri shopping for handbags. While Yuri is choosing a bag, Eun-kyung takes out a pre-ordered watch. It is almost her wedding anniversary with her husband. They once shared sweet memories, but now all that remains is quiet sorrow. The next day at work, Yuri accidentally notices that the skirt worn by Eun-kyung's assistant is exactly the same as the one worn by the woman involved in the affair that night. To confirm her suspicion, she checks the surveillance footage on the 16th floor and sees the assistant entering the mind and body therapy room. Realizing that the assistant who is constantly by Eun-kyung's side is the very woman who had an affair with Eun-kyung's husband, Yuri is deeply shaken. She recalls a memory from childhood. One day, while grocery shopping as a family of 3, they ran into her father's subordinate. As they passed each other, the subordinate secretly tugged at her father's clothing in an intimate manner. Back then, her mother was completely unaware. Now, history is repeating itself. Unwilling to let Eun-kyung remain in the dark, Yuri gathers her courage and tells Eun-kyung that her husband is having an affair. But to her surprise, Eun-kyung remains completely calm. End of episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will be back with the rest of the story soon.